Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Pre-Heresy and Codices, where I look at one Space Marine Legion per ramble and give you my thoughts on what codex or codices would best represent that legion in a 40k army list build utilizing GW rules only, and then I talk a little bit about collecting that force. So the final legion is up on the chopping block this time, the 20th Legion, the Alpha Legion. So right off the bat we can see color scheme wise, they got a pretty cool color scheme, and it is different from pre to post heresy. Also, however, post-heresy they have almost a different color scheme every Chaos Codex incarnation anyways, but it is different pre to post-heresy. We can see this color scheme is a metallic blue. It's more of a lighter metallic blue when you see it actually painted on models from Forge World, but it also has a bit of a green hue going on to it as well, which I like, and is accented with silver metallic trim pieces, which I like. There is a difference from the Unification era to their proper pre-heresy, heresy era look. The Unification era has a very similar color scheme going on for the main armor color, that metallic blue with some green hue going on, but instead of being silver trimmed, it makes use of more of a bronze or a brass trim, and it doesn't utilize the Hydra head symbol. So that's the Alpha Legion color scheme wise. Now, when it comes to a codex for these guys, you could make use of the Chaos Codex, the chosen model, the chosen entry, not so much the models, but the entry itself will work very well for them. But it's just such a heavily restricted codex for these guys that it may feel a bit too restrictive, and therefore you might think it's kind of putting a lid on your creativity, because you really can't make use of anything that's a cult legion, anything for any of the four chaos gods. None of that can be utilized. No demony stuff at all, no possessed, no chaos spawn, no obliterators, no mutilators, no defilers, no chaos engines, no flyers, nothing like that. So you're really kind of limited to just your power, your regular chaos space marine guys, your terminators, your chosen, and your havocs. And that's basically it. Of course, also your predator, your vindicator, and your rhino and land raiders. But while you do have a decent amount of stuff in comparison to what the Codex offers, it's heavily restricted. It can still make a good force, though. However, the Codex that I actually would recommend over this is the generic Space Marine Codex, because it's really open-ended and it has much fewer restrictions. And those restrictions are no Land Raider, Crusader, or Redeemer, no Centurion squads, no counts as Legion of the Damned, and the flyers are up to you. But everything else is usable in this Codex, and any of the chapter tactics are usable as well. Now, clearly, if you're in a tournament, you got to pick one and stick with it. But if you're doing this open gaming night, you can, every time you game, use a different chapter tactic and get a feel for that and see how it works and see what fits best for your army list build and your play style. But it all would work in an Alpha Legion sense. So, that's great. They are a legion that promotes free thought, and if their sergeant has a good tactical idea to achieve victory, the sergeant's encouraged to pursue it. And they also, like to hit you everywhere at once, hit you where you're weak, hit you where you're strong, have insurgents, cut radio ties, flood radio chatter. They like to do everything and mimic other tactics as well, so really any of the chapter tactics can work for you. The Codex has a lot fewer restrictions, as I just mentioned, so you can really get a good feel for building it how you want and really getting an Alpha Legion feel out of it. Both Codex can work, but because I like to recommend the easiest way to go about things, I feel the generic Space Marine Codex would be a bit better in my opinion. But either would work for you. So that's the Codex in question. Let's look at collecting this Legion. Now, of course, we're talking about the pre-heresy time period, so we're talking about no Mark 7 power armor, and we're talking about Cataphractii and Tartaros pattern Terminator armor only. We also are talking about pretty much the Forge World show. GW really doesn't have much aside from the odd bits and stuff you can make use from certain kits here and there, but past that, the only thing you can really make use of as a kit would be the plastic Venerable Dreadnought kit for that Mark IV look of Dreadnought. But aside from that, it's really the Forge World show. The generic Legion of Astarte stuff is going to work for any Legion. I didn't make mention of it really in the Raven Guard section blatantly, but obviously it would work for them as well. And it'll work for the Alpha Legion here also. But with that being said, they do have their own little entry on Forge World's site, but there isn't much on it just yet, but I will talk about what can work for them and what they got. And before I do that, I do want to say that this is a chance to kind of flex your muscle a little bit when it comes to creativity with the Alpha Legion collection, because if you look at the Forge Rule book that they're in, you'll see some black shoulder pads and some purple metallic shoulder pad stuff going on for the Terminators and things of that nature. So this is a chance to kind of make your force maybe seem that much more mysterious and secretive by doing stuff similar to that. But with that being said, the one thing I want to talk about is something that they don't list on the Horus Heresy section for the Alpha Legion, because it's very much a post-Heresy Chaos Dreadnought, but it doesn't have the Chaos taint so blatant on it, and therefore is usable. And I'm talking about the Alpha Legion Chaos Dreadnought from Forge World on their 40k section of their site. That Dreadnought, if you paint it up in the Pre-Heresy color scheme of the Alpha Legion, will look pretty sharp. And if you give it Loyalist Space Marine arms as opposed to the Chaos arms, it'll really look more neutral in terms of being chaosy. And it can definitely work for you as a Mark IV Dreadnought if you're really dead set on having a Mark IV looking Dreadnought in your force. So that's one option. But in the Horus Heresy section of the Alpha Legion, which also, by the way, like I mentioned, the generic Legion of Astarte stuff will work for them, but the Alpha Legion specific stuff that they got is not too much right now. They have Alpha Legion, Rhino, and Land Raider doors, which are nice, and they have shoulder pads, which are always nice to have as well. But they do have an awesome looking Contemptor Dreadnought. This Contemptor Dreadnought sculpt is one of my favorites. The color scheme works so well on it, and it really does look cool. And I definitely would recommend picking up this Contemptor Dreadnought because of that fact. Even if, you know, you have to represent it, not if, but you do have to represent it in a 40k armorless build as a generic Dreadnought, regular Dreadnought, because, or you can represent it as a Venerable, whatever. My point is, there's no Contemptors in GW rules for 40k. So it cannot represent a Contemptor, but it can definitely work to represent a regular Dreadnought, and it looks so cool, why wouldn't you? That's my argument anyway. So it definitely works for that, and it's a very cool looking Dreadnought. Now, they make mention of Mark VI Corvus armor. It's not like it's Alpha Legion specific Mark VI armor. I don't know why they listed it on the Alpha Legion section, but there it is. Not really showing it because it's generic armor that any Legion could in theory use. But one other thing that they just recently added was Arbalest Dynat. He's the Harrow Master of the Alpha Legion. He's a special character series model, and I really like the way he looks. I like the scaling that they did, sculpted detail on the model. I like the way he's painted up. Obviously, you know, that's not the model itself, that's the painter doing a good job, but it looks good. He's equipped with a Thunderhammer and a Power Sword, and if you wanted to pick him up as your HQ model, he could definitely work very well. He stands out very nice. The thing that I like about this is that it makes me excited for what will eventually happen, and that is torso and head upgrade bits for the Alpha Legion. Because if this is what they do for their character model, hopefully we'll see stuff similar in terms of the torso and even on the helmet when we eventually get head and torso upgrades for the Alpha Legion. So I'm looking forward to that. But that's really it for what we got right now for the Alpha Legion. I'm definitely going to have to do an update of this ramble once they eventually get their full model range. Now, one thing I'm hoping that they will get is a decal sheet. The Alpha Legion makes use of a lot of symbols, and they're secretive about their symbols, and they make use of secretive writing as well. And because of that, I'm hoping to see a decal sheet for them, because freehanding that stuff is tough for me and tough for a lot of people, and freehanding any type of writing or anything like that, if it's not really crisp, it looks a bit odd. So I'm really hoping that they'll get a decal sheet for that so that people can fully douse their models in secretive looking stuff and really make it feel more Alpha Legion-y, not just for their infantry but for their vehicles as well, because we don't really get too much aside from Land Raider and Rhino doors, which definitely work for a lot of stuff, but that aside, we don't get too much for vehicles. So having a decal sheet can really help that. Plus you can put the crazy cool symbols on that decal sheet that would be just really hard to freehand, and therefore really give us that secretive Alpha Legion feel. But anyways, that's pretty much it for this ramble. Once, like I said, we get the full model range for the Alpha Legion, I'll be redoing this ramble, just like I'll be redoing a bunch of other Legions as well. But that's it for now. So thanks for sticking through it. The Alpha Legion is a Legion that in the beginning I was never really a fan of, but what really started swaying me the other direction was the novel Legion from Black Library, and then from there on, they became a Legion that grew on me, and I actually kind of like them. Probably would never collect them, to be honest, but it's a Legion that I went from feeling to actually kind of liking that Legion a decent amount. So that's my 2 cents for the Alpha Legion. Like I said, I'll be redoing these guys once they get their full range, but that's it for now. Thanks for sticking through it. That's all the Space Marine Legions done, but the Pre-Heresy and Codices series may not be just done right now. The Legions are done, but there's other potential for stuff in the future, so we'll see about other rambles there. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for sticking through it, and until the next one, take it easy.